Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're going to wrap up quarter 2 of 2024. We're going to visit some of the topics that we talked about during this quarter, and we're going to bullshit with each other and probably rag on Jeff the entire time because he didn't contribute this quarter.
Good.
Yeah, fuck him. Anyways, Jake, how are you, man?
I'm okay. I just woke up from a nap, so I'm like ready to be here. You know, I'm surprised it's like quarter 2 of 2024. I would have thought for sure a meteor would have hit us by now.
You would have thought, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure
that to the yearly bingo.
I'm sure tinfoil hat Jeff can come up with a reason why. What do you think, Jeff?
Why the meteor hasn't hit us yet?
It's all hitting all the Starlink antennas.
Who says it hasn't?
True. Just living in an alternate world.
I'm under the impression that we're being hit by meteors an infinite amount of times every infinitesimal fractal of a second.
He's like, when's the last time you heard any news out of Romania?
Speaking of Romania, we were number 4 on their charts for documentaries. That's pretty awesome.
We're number 4
you,
in Romania.
Yeah.
Thank you, Romania.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We're sucking wind here in the U.S., but in Romania, fucking awesome.
Nice.
Number 4 in Romania. Yeah. That's cool.
Well, we're trying something new today. We are live. We have one fan in the house, Skeeter. He's here, chatting with us over on the chat. We got the confirmation that he is able to see and hear us now, by the way.
Okay.
So, Skeeter, if you have
Where's
any
the
questions,
link for this live thing?
I posted it on Facebook.
Go to the Facebook.
Oh yeah, she can listen to it there.
She can listen to it there. Go to
there you go. Look
We're
at us
live right now. You could just.
You're live?
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard her say that.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
The
Just
whole
turn it
world
down
heard her
so
say that.
We can't hear it.
That's right. Romania heard her say that.
They did. All right, so we're here to talk about the episodes that we did here on quarter 2. And we'll probably end up talking a little bit about UFO Days and maybe a little bit about the future of Infinite Rabbit Hole.
Yeah.
So, first on the docket tonight, gentlemen, Pepie, the Monster of Lake Pepin. Jeff, you're our cryptid guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm an expert cryptid guy. That's my degree title. And no, so like, look here. I'll say I've said this 100 times, man. I'm beating a dead horse with this, man. When it comes to cryptids, if there's any cryptids that I think probably actually do exist, it's any of these water cryptids, man. You know, just because there are all these caves and all kinds of shit under the water, right? So you could come at me and be like, "Hey, man, there's a whatever." I don't know. I remember how big you said it was in the episode. I think you said like 30 feet, 20 feet, something like that. Some sightings were.
I think there's sporadic reports, man. It's
Right.
a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Well, you could come at me and be like, "Hey, it's a 30-foot something." I'd be like, "All right, I mean, hey, has anybody been down there to verify that there's not?"
I think the wildest thing about Pepie, and I think Jake's going to agree here because we've talked about it numerous times, actually, off the mic. Bull sharks that far up the Mississippi.
Crazy.
How cool is that?
I was doing yard work and I had to steady myself against a tree. I was so shocked about that. I was like, oh, look at that, shaking the knees because I was actually I don't like the beach. I've lived on both coasts. I don't like going in the water because of stuff in the water, and it's just like, it's probably unreasonable. Okay, who cares? But I didn't know that. It's like, I'm a lake guy. I didn't know that I could be swimming in a lake and get attacked by a freaking bull shark. What?
And then there's these small tributaries over in the Minnesota side of things where they're finding hatchlings, just little baby sharks in streams and stuff. How nuts is that?
You gotta take them out. It's like carp. Just kill all of them.
Well, it's like one of those. I don't know, man. Maybe it was a pet. That's what I was thinking. Maybe it was a pet and somebody let it go.
A pet bull shark?
Hey, man, I'm trying to connect the dots here. How it made it all the way up from the Gulf, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of dams and stuff that, you know, I don't know, especially being in winter. I just don't see that as a thing. But I mean, the truth
crazy.
is that they found it. So
I could see it, honestly. I could see a bull shark swimming that far, even through locks and dams. Because I mean, it's kind of improbable, but not impossible. I wouldn't think it's happening all the time, but I bet you it probably happens more than you think.
Well, enough to have a breeding population, apparently.
yeah, I don't know how big the breeding population is. I wonder how lucky they got to find those.
You said there was shark babies, which means there's
Well,
going to be more shark babies.
We also got to think, man, we're talking about a shark, right? We're talking about bull sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks have been around forever, right? They've
Yeah.
been doing the thing that sharks do since way before we're doing what we're doing. So it's like there's shit that we still don't understand, right? How are they, what's the word? Like navigating, people. There's a lot of like science, but there's still a lot of speculation. Like, are they using magnetics? Is it like what exactly is causing like whales and sharks and birds and all these things to do certain things? So it's like who the fuck knows, man. We're like, oh, this shark can't make it up these
Magic.
locks. That shark could be like, fuck you, I'm doing whatever I want.
I'll just walk across this cornfield.
600 million years in my exact form. I know what I'm doing.
Anyways, so that was a pretty unique episode because that was the first one that we covered since Jake and I moved to Wisconsin. And
now that's the thing right there. Where's the camera? Right here. That's the thing, bro. So I'm coming up there.
Yeah.
We should go to this lake. It's an hour away, like you said.
You're only up here for 3 days. You're here for
what?
UFO Days. That's it.
No. Listen, we go to UFO Days. How far is that from where you're at?
UFO Day? It's like 30 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Boom. We go do the UFO Day thing. Boom. And then we're done. We go to the lake.
Yeah.
All right.
Why not?
I'll just tell my wife I won't be home.
Just tell her, hey, look, I'm flying up there. I'm flying across the country. Sorry, wife.
I live on the
See you
road
at dinner.
now. I'm one of them road guys.
Roadhouse.
Yeah. So, yes. Skeeter asked if you'll be in Wisconsin. So yeah, that is a thing. Jeff will be here. The three faces that you see right now will be at UFO Days, except for CJ's. And CJ was supposed to be on tonight, but I mean, I don't know what to say. Yeah, he kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah,
we fucking love CJ. But look forward to some
Mud Duck Land.
I don't know. Ask him.
What's Mud Duck Land?
But look forward to some more Wisconsin urban legends and cryptids and the such. We're gonna let's see. I know we're doing Elmwood here very soon, so for those of you that like UFOs and all that good stuff, Elmwood's going to be right up your alley. Small town Wisconsin with a really, really cool UFO history. There'll be a 2-parter coming up soon, sometime in July, just prior to UFO Days. So hang tight, and I'll tell you, it's a really, really cool topic. I gotta try to convince Jeff to listen to it before he comes up here, so he knows what he's talking about when people talk to him. Yeah, fucking Jeff.
Or you could just let him go.
Or I could. Like, all right, go, little man, go.
What are we talking about? I got distracted.
Elmwood UFO Days, man.
Oh yeah, man. What are we talking about over there, dude? What is?
I don't know. You're not planning this. I told you you're the planner.
Listen, like I work best firing from the hip. I will totally get on stage and do a Jeff Hernandez TED Talk from the hip.
We might have to go that route.
I'll do it, man. I work best in a flow state, and you can only achieve flow state if you have not prepared. All right, you just have to go.
It's gonna be fun. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and jump into the next topic: the dancing plague of 1518. Jake, what'd you think?
That one was wild. I also like the music you put behind it.
Did you like that?
It was so cute and festive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know really how to take that report. I was just like, if this real. I guess it was more believable being that you brought in the whole moldy rye bread thing, which I've known for a while as far as like kind of was more likely the cause of like the Salem witch trials. People thinking that like, oh gosh, they're witches because they're mumbling nonsense, but they're probably just tripped out of their balls on LSD. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if
But
you think
like
of
dancing until you're dead or your feet break off and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
goodness gracious,
it's a real thing.
that's crazy.
There's a lot of historical documentation about it. I mean, most of it comes from like the Holy Roman Empire. You know, from the printing press and medical documents from the time. There were handwritten documents from the cases before, but the reason why 1518 was such a popular year, or the most talked about year when it comes to these dancing plagues, which is most likely caused by ergot, that fungus or whatever it is that grows on wheat. Sorry, guys. Like we said millions of times, once we record the episode, it's just a dump of information. So please
on to
forgive
the next thing.
Yeah.
Except for Jeff, he retains everything.
Yeah. Well, Jeff retains everything government conspiracy wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that it's probably, I mean, the ergot thing is one thing, but I don't know, man. To me, it seems more like it was probably like an actual, we call it a plague if you want. There's probably some neurological virus going around that was affecting people's central nervous system, making them twitch and spasm in crazy ways. And I bet you that just the lore of that and that kind of thing, and especially in those times, right? 1500s, right? Like people believed shit in 1500, you know what I mean? Like hardcore,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Like a fucking bird landed on your horse's head and it was like, oh my God. You know, the whole thing, right?
That's an omen. I better hide my children.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you see a couple people and then it turns out to be a couple hundred people out there with some crazy neurological virus. Nobody has any idea that this stuff even exists at this time.
Right.
You know, the lore and everything they get written down. Oh, they were dancing in the streets until their fucking feet were bleeding. And it's like, were they? Or were they just like out there freaking screaming and crying and just like uncontrollable spasms? Like it sounds terrible, actually.
Well, the thing that came to my mind was, what did this dancing look like? I mean, they could have been
thrashing.
Yeah, like literally laying on the ground and just rolling around and, you know, fighting for their lives, and people looking at it like, oh, they're dancing, you know.
Right.
That's the thing that I'm most curious about, is what did it actually look like? I think if we saw this dancing plague now, we'd probably look at it and, you know, see something completely different than just dancing.
Exactly. And you know, like that's the thing about neurological things, right? Like it could affect and trigger all kinds of stuff. When it comes to your like central nervous system and all this stuff, you know, like it could literally cause you to, I don't know, run around like your skin's on fire. Right. So there's like ancient stories of people running around like they're on fire. People say they're possessed or whatever the case might be. They might have been suffering from some sort of neurological disorder or virus that was causing their nervous system to make them feel like all of their skin was burning, you know, like, so there's these types of things that happen. So who knows? But yeah, it is a crazy story.
Yeah.
From the chat, Skeeter says it was the coolest plague. And that he needs that to happen at some of the weddings that he does.
Then he said that we would think it was meth heads.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
smoking meth back in the 1500s.
Could you imagine, like, you know, somebody from back in the day sees somebody on bath salts and they're like,
holy boy,
possessed.
That's
he's
another
got that
thing,
face
too.
eating disease.
They got hot blood.
I didn't even think about that, right? Like we don't know what kind of like drugs, right? People have been used in ancient times. Yeah, we know of some. We know of, especially like shamanistic uses for certain psychedelics and things like that. But we don't know what people were finding in the woods and like concocting, and like that was their recreational like meth of the time. You know,
Yeah, that's true. Especially
that
if
had
you're
some
some
good
poor
shit,
peasant
man.
peasant person with no rules, right?
yeah, man, mix
There's
a
no
little
one saying
ergot,
that. There's no
mix
one
a little
saying that
ergot in there,
psilocybin was illegal, right, or anything like that. Just go for it.
a
Find
little
some
ergot
mushrooms, you stick them in your
psilocybin mix.
face.
Yeah,
All
dude.
right. To kind of keep it moving along here, let's move on to the Fouke Monster. So I'll take this one first. Um, the Fouke Monster was actually a fan recommendation from a long time ago. When we first started, I had somebody email me and said that they wanted to hear some more Bigfoot stuff, and I was like, if I, same thing I said on some of the older episodes, that if I just talked about Bigfoot, um,
We'd be more
I
popular. Yeah,
well,
you don't want that.
probably, but I would just get trapped in the Bigfoot rabbit hole, and I would just do nothing but Bigfoot because I mean, most of these books back here reference Bigfoot, most of them.
The infinite Bigfoot rabbit hole.
Yeah.
The infinite Bigfoot hole.
That rolls better. I like
Yeah.
that.
Bigfoot's infinite hole.
So I had replied to their email and I said, well, if you can choose one urban legend Bigfoot to talk about, or you want us to talk about, what would it be? And they're like, you have to do the Fouke Monster. That's the one. And then, of course, they listed off a few others like Momo and the Honey Island Swamp Monster, which is something that we briefly covered in our very first episode, other than the Let Us Introduce Ourselves episode. And I told them, yeah, I'll cover it. And I bought the books, or actually my brother gifted me one of the books for like Christmas or something one year. And I just never did it. I just got caught up in some of the other topics and just never really got to it until, well, a couple months ago. So,
It was a good episode.
I think that freaking the Fouke Monster is absolutely awesome. Awesome story, awesome topic.
I gotta be honest, I don't think that one stuck very much. I think I listened to that one while I was working. So
yeah. Well, I think the ones that really stick out, right? And I know a lot of people like the story of the Fouke Monster and the story behind Charles E. Pierce's Beast of Boggy Creek. I really like some of the firsthand accounts from the second episode that I did. The one that sticks out to me the most is the one that I got off of Monster Quest on the History Channel, where they were up in their tree stand and something reached up and grabbed their broadhead out of their freaking bow. How fucking crazy is that? That's incredible.
I'd poop my pants.
I don't know, bro. Seems like bullshit to me, but what do I know as the resident cryptid expert?
I mean, if you're gonna fabricate it, you might as well fabricate it good, right?
It seems like right out of a movie. It seems like the opening scene to like the newest show, Cryptids. On Netflix.
It does, and I don't 100% know how well I did.
Obvious gloved hand comes in the picture,
right off the bow.
Hunters.
But apparently,
he didn't even just snap it; he unscrewed it.
Then he flung it at me.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember how I presented it. But basically, the gist was they were up in their tree stand and they saw shadows off in the top of the ravine, and he thought it was cows. And then as they were coming closer, he started realizing that they were up on two legs, and he was focusing in on these things that were down on the ground. And then all of a sudden, this hand just comes out of nowhere below him and grabs his broadhead and scares the living shit out of him. I mean, I'd be fucking
you wouldn't have
petrified.
noticed the thing climbing up the tree at him?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
whole
most
tree's swaying, and he's just like, must be the wind.
Most tree stands that I've ever went up to, you would think that you would feel that coming up, or at least hear it creaking. I definitely understand where your guys' pushback is on it, but I think it's an incredible story.
Well, I've always kind of had like a mixed feeling about most of the Bigfoot sightings, right? I always kind of lean into like maybe it's some sort of interdimensional or bleed through of some kind, you know. So it's like they're not physically interacting, but maybe they can ever so slightly. So maybe he wouldn't feel it coming up the tree. Maybe
Yeah.
just enough energy was put into it grabbing that broadhead, and that was all that actually like bled through enough for him to feel it.
Maybe its arm wormholed into existence right there.
Maybe, yeah, or maybe it did, or maybe it materialized. You know, there's like, not to get off track too much here, but like the idea, I don't think people really think about inner dimensions enough, right? Like I think about this a lot, but it's like other things, other entities are occupying the same time space as us, not just space or time.
Well,
It's time space. It's the same thing.
We don't know exactly about time space. Time can be perceived
Sure.
differently on different dimensions.
Right. This is assuming certain theories are correct, obviously, but this is just how I think about it, right? Like there's entities that are occupying the same thing as us. We just can't interact with them, but there has to be moments and points and things that must happen in the universe that cause interactions to take place. So to me, that's what these cryptids are half the time. That's what ghosts are half the time, you know.
I wouldn't say like cryptids, but because most of them are probably all baloney, but I mean, I'm under the assumption that the spiritual world, you know, angelic beings, demonic beings, things like that, are just on a different dimensional plane.
Mm-hmm.
That they exist here, but the veil hasn't been lifted, so we generally can't see them except under specific circumstances.
Agreed 100%.
I don't know enough about that to make a
well, you could read some books. I know that you know how to read, unlike most people.
Well, we might get into this a little more whenever we get to the NDE stuff, you know. But
oh yeah. No, I think that's kind of why I'm pushing through all this. I just feel like the NDE stuff is gonna kind of take off.
That's super interesting stuff to me.
Yeah. You know, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. But I just wanted to show, because I had somebody actually message me and ask me for a picture of the book Smokey and the Fouke Monster that I got off eBay. And here it is. If anybody is interested in this, and these are those dark circles I was talking about. Obviously, it's like a Scotch glass or something, not a coffee stain. It's too small. But this was an absolutely incredible story, and without this, I wouldn't have been able to get all the information that I got from things such as like the Jonesville Monster, or back before when it was referred to as the Wild Man. So this was an absolutely incredible book with some really, really cool pictures and everything. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's some really, really cool stuff in here from back in, you know, the time of the Fouke Monster, when it was in the limelight of the world, really. Some really, really interesting stuff in there. If anybody can find a copy of that, I saw a couple copies on eBay. A lot of them have the white stripe that I was talking about. This one's got the blue, so this is that blue panel I was talking about, where it's the original, and then the reprint has white panel. The bonus to it, I think the white print has a little bit of extra content. So, not 100% sure on that. So if anybody listening does know what the difference is between the two of them, please let me know. All right, you guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Sheepsquatch.
Sheepsquatch.
So Sheepsquatch was supposed to be paired with another critter. You want to tell us that story?
Yeah, Jeremy wanted me to do the Goatman phenomenon as well as Sheepsquatch. But Goatmen have way more content than the Sheepsquatch, so I couldn't really just pair them seamlessly together in one episode. Because, I mean, the phenomenon of having a man that has some sort of like, you know, I forgot what the bovidae type or bovidae type appearances too, of like hooves and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that goes back to Greek mythology with Pan, right? It's just like, or early Renaissance depictions of the devil, you know, things like that. Like it's just all over the place. Then you got like the Goat Man of West Virginia, the Goat Man of the South, the Goat Man of Pacheco Pass, California, the Goat Man here, the Goat Man there. Shoot, you could, if you wanted to kind of loosely base it, you could say like Krampus is like a Goat Man type thing, right? I mean, because the early drawings from German mythology show, Krampus being like a Pan type figure.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, this deserves its own topic versus adding that into this small town West Virginian cryptid story.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different goat men too. There's like four. There's a Wisconsin goat man. In case you didn't know that, yeah. Pretty interesting. It's there's not a lot of content there, so obviously
Skeeter says Sheepsquatch isn't real. Lost one. Sheepsquatch is 100% baloney.
No, I'm with Skeeter on this one.
I don't know, man. I've seen it in Fallout, so
I have as well.
Yeah.
I also saw Mothman in Fallout. Freaked me out.
So how can you say it's not real, man?
Well,
You've seen
I
it.
guess.
Fucking nerd.
It exists in the other dimension. It's in the Hollow Earth.
I like
that. Oh, go ahead.
I like the urban legend of Sheepsquatch, and that's what I believe it is. It's just an urban legend. It is. I think it's unique. You see a lot of these different quote unquote cryptids where I think there's a fine line between a cryptid and an urban legend, right? I think personally, in my own opinion, is that a cryptid has biological chance of existing, right?
It's not a mixture of other things.
And an urban legend, right? I think that you would have to have many accounts in order for it to make that jump from an urban legend to a cryptid. So, like, let's say there was hundreds of thousands of reports of a Sheepsquatch, then you can make the argument that, yeah, maybe it doesn't make biological sense, but there are a shit ton of reports.
Versus a few over the course of 100 years.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but Jeff is making comments such as possibly a interdimensional being or a being that got trapped in our dimension for a period of time.
It's like Man Bear Pig.
I was going to go down that path. When you think about Bigfoot, right? The original sassy Squatch. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of reports of these things around the world. And that's where I kind of loop that in with a cryptid. But when you're talking about something that's just talked about in passing, I think you're looking at more of like an urban legend. I do find them very interesting. I love the stories. I love the context behind it. But I think that this is one of those things where it's just it's too easy to do. Right? Mm-hmm. We have the Sheepsquatch. We have the Bat Squatch, which I'm sure we'll cover at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually an absolutely wild story, by the way.
We got the Tactisquatch.
Ah, yes. And the famous
got that shirt
Tactisquatch. I actually have some Tactisquatch right there. Look.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't opened it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. This was another one of our mini doc episodes. So, like Jake said, there wasn't a ton of content when it came to Sheepsquatch. So there's not going to be a lot to really talk about it.
Skeeter says that Sheepsquatch could be an old white-haired Bigfoot.
And it could be.
Silverback.
That's actually a very good point to bring out because there has been plenty of reports of white Sasquatches. And I can point to enough or more reports of white Sasquatches or albino Sasquatches. We don't really know.
They got albino gorillas. Why not?
Right. Well, there's more reports that I know of than reports of Sheepsquatch in general. Right. So,
there's 7 of Sheepsquatch.
Right. And there's 8 of white Bigfeet. But no,
there you go.
No, there's actually quite a few. I got a book back here where there's an entire chapter on nothing but the white Sasquatch. And now that I think about that, I should go and look in there.
Sounds like a drug name.
It does. So you want some of this white squatch, bro?
Yeah.
Some nose candy. Give me some of that squatch.
Some of that Squatch, bro.
All right. Let's touch on the Tim Bernal interview real quick. Not much to say here. Obviously, we did a lot of the conversating in the actual episode, but man, what a blast that guy was.
Yeah, it was definitely neat. I really like his podcast, his interviewing style and stuff, and he seems to be very open on his show with his interviews. He's not like other interviewers where they're willing to be like, nah, I don't believe in any of that. That's baloney, but he's just like, he really just allows the person he's interviewing to just have that space with no argumentation or anything like that.
I did not listen to that episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's because you suck, dude.
You know what though? I think you would have really dug being on that episode, man. I do. The guy was super cool.
Yeah.
I've known a Tim Bernal for quite a while. I'm a big Coast to Coast fan. And
he was sucking all over him. He's like, "Oh, you're my hero." Oh, it was awesome.
I don't remember that, but any article that you see them post on Facebook or any of the socials to
Skeeter.
Skeeter says that he was.
Thanks, Skeeter. Appreciate you, man.
Oh,
yeah, for any of those listening right now, you guys should pay attention to watch the socials, because whenever we do an interview podcast, we'll post when we're going to go live. I'm going to try to get you guys some more notice next time. I'm going to be honest with you. I meant to post that we were doing this like 4 days ago, and I just forgot. So yeah, sorry about last second there, Skeeter. Still appreciate you showing up. And anybody else that wants to jump on, just watch the socials. This will be a lot of fun. But yeah, so I was just sitting on my couch in my sunroom the other night, and I think I was watching Solar Opposites. Fucking love that show. If you're not watching that, anybody listening, you need to be, because it's absolutely hilarious. And I got a friend request on Facebook. It was Tim Bernal. I was like, what the fuck? This isn't the real Tim Bernal. So I like looked at him and was like, holy shit, I think this is Tim Bernal. And I was like, literally the first thing I said to him, I said, I'm just going to come out with it. Do you want to come on the show and talk to us? And he's like, absolutely, man. I was like, fuck, that's awesome. Like, that's so cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Tim Bernal interview.
No, he was a good person to interview. It was pretty cool getting to hear how he started working with Coast to Coast AM and how that whole his job lines up with them. It sounds like a tremendous amount of work for sure.
He posts like 4 or 5 articles a day for them.
I know, and his insight and stuff. I mean, someone who's that well read, you'd imagine has some pretty good insight on a lot of the things. So Jeff, we were like asking about aliens and stuff. He was bagging all over the mall and in Miami, and then the Mexican aliens. He's like, obviously fake.
bro, whatever happened with the mall aliens, dude?
Well, Stranger Things hasn't come out yet, so we don't know.
Stranger Things hasn't come out yet, dude. I called
We talked,
it, bro.
we talked about your
man.
theory with Tim, and he was just like, wow, that's a good point, or something along the lines of
With
that.
it being
but yeah.
like a promo or something.
Yeah.
Dude.
We'll see. Only time will tell. I think it comes out around Halloween time, doesn't it? Isn't that like an annual thing?
We'll see, brother. I don't know.
All right. Moving on to the last subject before we talk about an interview that you guys haven't heard yet. You will by the time that this episode comes out, but not by the recording. So, spoiler alert for Skeeter. We're going to talk about some stuff that you guys haven't heard yet. But before that, let's talk about near-death experiences. So, who? You know what? I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll reiterate this from the episode, and by the time, or at the time that we're recording this, the first NDE episode came out. In fact, tomorrow, at the time that we're recording this, NDE Part 2 will be coming out.
Yes.
And there's some really cool stuff in there. The topic of NDEs is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I've never researched a topic before where it literally changed my point of view on the world. It's incredible,
It's
like to the
crazy,
point.
Jeff. He's so different. It's weird.
I'm so like I'm humble now. I I drink more now,
Yeah.
but
It changed him for the better. He's developed alcoholism.
But no, on a serious note, like the simple fact that there are so many details that are shared with not just a small group of people, man. I'm talking about human history. The details of NDEs is incredible. How this stuff goes back to like hieroglyphs, and not even like the Egyptian hieroglyphs, like the Mexican ones from like the ancient Aztecs and shit. Like there's a lot of really cool shit when it comes to NDEs and how uh, similar it is for people, no matter who they are, what culture they are, what time they're from. Absolutely mind blowing. So there will be there is only part 1 and part 2 right now, but I can almost guarantee you that there's going to be a part 3 and possibly a part 4 at some point. And we'll kind of touch on that a little bit later when we go into when we talk about our interview that we had that will be coming out a week and a day from today. But we'll get to that in a second. What do you guys think of NDEs?
Go, Jeff. Blow the
I
lid
mean, I
off
got a
that.
lot of thoughts about NDEs, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it's, well, yeah, man. I mean, you know, it's, I'm trying to think. There was something that, well, I guess I'll hold this thought for the next part when we talk about the interview or whatever. But,
Did you listen to the interview?
yeah. So, but you know, there's a lot that I'm kind of like, especially with like the holographic universe, which is something that I'm still trying to like fully put together to put out. You know, being, you know, like the whole energetic being thing, right? And tapping into frequencies and energies and all this type of stuff. It's like when you have these NDEs and you're having like these somewhat out of body experiences, but you're also experiencing points of attention from other people, right? In moments like the whole thing is just so crazy to me, bro. Like there's no way that this is just like your brain firing off when you're dying. Like this is definitely like a portal, or you are experiencing a transition from one level of conscious to another.
It's
You know
the
what I mean?
wormhole, the tunnel,
It's
the wormhole between dimensions.
something, yeah. Like it's so wild to me, but yeah.
One detail that I wish I had spent more time on, and it would have been in one of these first 2 episodes on NDEs, was the fact of a barrier. And I know I touched on it slightly, but the concept of the barrier, and you see these in a lot of accounts, a lot of, I mean, there's books on books on books. I mean, you can go on YouTube and listen and watch people's NDE encounters that they talk about. I mean, there's entire shows, entire podcasts that are dedicated to just people telling you about their NDEs and the concept of this barrier, of this where you're, you know, whatever this next realm is, you're there and somebody or something tells you, hey, don't go over there. Don't cross that gate. Don't go into that tunnel. Don't pass me. Don't go past that line. If you do, you're done. That's it. You will not go back. And the decision that's being made consciously by the experiencer to go back to their body, and that question of what is past that barrier is there, and it's incredible. And you get the phenomenon of people reporting that they're the person who's guiding them through all this is telling them, hey, you're not supposed to be here. you need to go back. And they're like, if you go past this, you're done. You can't. You need to go back. You're not done. Whatever you need to do on Earth still needs to happen.
See, to me, this is like a soul trap thing. I talked about this like literally on episode 1 of Shadowban podcast, right? Like this idea that there is some higher level of entities that are trying to keep us in this lower dimension, if you will, right?
Yeah.
This 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional reality that we live in, as like an energy source, right? Like these, what does Alex Jones call them? The interdimensional psychic vampires. They are literally feeding on our energies.
I was just listening to that, his
Right?
rant about that. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, this, it makes me think about that, right? This whole like go to the light or don't go to the light, right? This whole what you're talking about, or reincarnating or coming back, or just these near-death experiences. To me, it's like, it makes me think about this soul trap thing, where are we supposed to go past the barrier? Like, is that the actual ultimate goal, the universal goal for us, to go past that fucking barrier? Or are we supposed to just keep reincarnating here in this place?
Well, see, that's one of the topics that I want to touch on a lot more in another episode, is the concept of reincarnation, because it's a very, very popular topic in NDEs. And it's almost to the point to where, you know how I pointed out those elements, the 12 elements that Dr. Jeffrey Long pointed out in his book. It was, I mean, it almost came up as many times as those elements did. Like, it could potentially have been the 13th. I don't know, because there's people that report saying that when they get to the next stage, they instantly remember all their past lives, and they know that all their options that are in front of them. How time isn't a linear thing there. It is just something that just happens. Same thing with knowledge, same thing with communication. It's just there. You don't communicate verbally. You don't even communicate psychically. It's just knowledge is there and you have it.
Yeah, it's like outside the projector, man. If you look at it like a simulation, right? It's like outside the projector is a whole different being, right? We're able to telepathically, like you said, we just know each other's thoughts and things are just different, right? Your beings
Communication is more effective.
But the NDE experience is crazy, because it's like you have these accounts, like you're saying, about experiencing events from other people's points of view as well, right? Like you understand, and it's not like you're watching this happen or anything. It's just this like understanding of like the this butterfly effect from another perspective as well, not just your own timeline, right? So it's like this fractal thing. I don't want to get too deep into it because it's going to give away some of my episode, but like that's how kind of holograms work, right? Like the part encodes the whole, right? You could take any little piece of a hologram, any little snippet of light from a hologram, and you could blow that up with another projection and it'll encode the entire hologram of the original, right? Like every piece of light holds all of the information for the whole hologram, right? So it's like, that's kind of how I'm viewing this, like consciousness and the perceptions of each individual. So you have, as you're having this near-death experience, each individual consciousness is experiencing this at the same time from different perspectives, right? So I don't know, it's pretty deep, man, but I'm going to get into that into this next episode. You guys are going to be like, what?
Jeff, yes. I want to reach out to, I was listening to that Sean Ryan show, right? And I was watching his interview with John Burke, who's an author for Imagine Heaven and Imagine the God of Heaven. From doing, he wrote these books because he's been studying NDEs for 35 years now. He's researched around 1,500 people, all various levels of dead, like total brain and heart inactivity, right? From a few minutes up to like an hour and a half. And he was an agnostic going into this search. And within a year, he started looking into, well, where are these these reports of the afterlife or whatever, where is this coming from? And he was finding the parallels in the Bible. And so he ended up getting really big into apologetics. And that's what eventually turned him over to Christ. Right. And he became a pastor because he had so many questions and all sorts of stuff. And he's like, I want to help people that also have the same questions that I had, because it was difficult to show up at a men's group Bible study and just being like, we'll prove it, type stuff, to these people. And we finally found people that were willing to answer these questions and through his own research. Now he's a pastor, and so he can help other people with those same questions and stuff, especially ones that are getting into things like Jeremy with NDEs. Well, where does this all come from? Where does it all go? What's the point of all this, right? It's not just, obviously there's a goal, is there a path that leads to that goal, or is it a wide open path? Is it a narrow path, right? All these sorts of things. But I just got his books, so I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to invite him on the show. And I'd like you to be there too. Actually, Jeremy too. I mean, we could all interview him together. But from his ability to answer questions from Sean, I imagine he'd be pretty well equipped to answer questions from y'all too, or kind of have those discussions as far as like, because I mean, he even got into that sort of stuff, those interdimensional type things. It's just like, yeah, I mean, how else could we describe another type of being inhabiting the same space as us that's able to affect things here, or beings that are able to affect things here, say angelic, demonic beings, or God, or whatever, but we can't see them. It's like, well, that's where you get into other dimensions. And he got into like, it's theorized there's like 11 different dimensions and all that sort of stuff. And he was transparent with it. He said, I didn't go to school for dimensions. I haven't been studying dimensions for 35 years. I've been studying NDEs, but I've looked into it, and I can see the parallels between the two and like how it all kind of might line up, right? And so it was really interesting. So yeah, I want to get him on the show for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a spirit a spirit world, right? Like I think the easiest way to like boil all of it down is like in some form of spirit world. I mean, I think that's why the ancient people boiled it down to that, right? And it's always been that, is because whether you're looking at it from, a holographic universe or a, some weird, whatever you're looking at it from, it all boils down to the fact that like there is some layer that we just can't really perceive most of the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then depending on situations or whatever the case might be, like you get glimpses into this layer, the spirit world, right? Like I've been there. It was induced by certain things, but like people go to these places and you have these experiences,
for sure.
So like I'll tell you a quick story actually.
Tell me.
Dimethyltryptamine, right? So
DMT,
yeah, DMT, doing that one time, literally went through a wormhole. And when I came out the other side of this wormhole, and during this wormhole, by the way, it was absolute fear. I was certain that I died. And then after this wormhole, I broke through the other side and was in what I could only describe as like zero gravity, the void, right? I would say deep space, but I don't remember seeing any stars or anything, right? It was just the void, kind of just floating in zero gravity. There was a feminine energy that seemed like it was a giant, like the size of a planet or something, kind of just holding its hands like this, cupping my head as I'm floating in this zero gravity, and it's comforting me in this state. And I existed there for literally, and I'm not kidding, all of time, from before time existed till after time existed. I was in this state. Okay, I watched all of everything happen, the expanse and collapse of the universe. And then I came to, and the person I was with told me it had been 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And it changed my life. So it's like, to me, that's similar to one of these experiences in some ways. It's like breaking through to this other world where you do experience not just your life, but every other thing that's happening all at once. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's hard to explain.
It's funny you say that. Because that's another topic that I really wanted to jump into when it comes to part 3 or part 4, is the similarities between a near-death experience and a DMT trip. That void that you're talking about is something that's very commonly described. Like I said in one of my episodes, I can't remember which one it was. It's pretty much split right down the middle. people uh, talking about whether or not they're in a void of nothingness, whether it be deep space and they're surrounded by stars, or it's literally just black. And then the other half are saying that they're in some sort of earthly human area, like a beautiful
I would
building or a
describe what I
beautiful
was in
Sounds
as
view.
like
like
heaven and hell to me.
mine would be mostly a void, but with some sort of aura, maybe a blue or purplish aura. Maybe like
Yeah.
inside a nebula where you can't see the stars, though.
Yeah, that's all stuff that's detailed in a lot of people's NDEs, man. I wouldn't be surprised just because DMT is released by the brain. You know, it's called the death hormone or something along those lines, right?
Goodness, it's
Huh?
metal.
It is.
I said that's pretty metal. Yeah.
But it's literally the same thing that's released by your body or by your brain, or
Right.
I don't know exactly where it comes from.
So they say,
Excuse my
like
ignorance.
at the point of death, depending on how they say that dimethyltryptamine is something that your brain starts to produce
Mhm.
and activate in those final moments. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, that wormhole, I was certain. I mean, I wasn't me. There was no concept of me outside of the fact that I again witnessed all of time, and in that was me, right? I was in there somewhere, but like,
Literally what an NDE is, man.
yeah, that's crazy.
It's incredible the similarities between a DMT trip and an NDE. Not all
It's cool
DMT
too
trips.
because hell is described in the Bible sometimes as outer darkness and a bottomless pit.
Hmm.
So floating in a void with no color is interesting all by
But
yourself.
again, it was comforting. There was like, again, I don't know why it seemed like a feminine energy was comforting me.
I don't mean like in relationship to DMT, but in relationship to like NDEs and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Some people describe that sort of a thing, and it's like, well, there by yourself for all of forever.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
terrifying experience. If I could see how it could be, I guess for me it wasn't, but I could see how for some people it might be.
Yeah.
Well, so I wasn't meant to do NDEs quite yet. I wanted to put this out in a 3 or 4 part series. But I had 2 gentlemen who are part of the Infinite Rabbit Hole that didn't hold their weight and couldn't come up with their episodes, so I had to put something out.
Nemesis.
One of them is right there, Jeffrey Fernandez, the guy right there. The other one being CJ. Yeah. So you guys got unfinished work because of these guys. Look at him. Look at him. Look
Listen,
how guilty
man.
he is. Look at his face.
Look,
It's so
I'm not guilty. All right. If you want a premium product, all right. You want this premium product, all right. No, but
It's
honestly,
gonna be like a 15-minute episode.
honestly, life has just been busy. I've been so busy lately, man. It's been so hard for me to sit down and like put together something on Hollow Universe, which is the one I really want to do. And like, I know all the information. It's just putting it together again, because like I said at the beginning of this, I'm a fire from the hip kind of guy. More
Well,
so than
you were going to do something different. What was it?
what was I gonna do before? Fuck. I can't even remember, dude.
I think
Dude, it was so hard for me to put together Sheepsquatch. I just lost all my motivation because I haven't done this in like 5 months. So I was like, it was such
What
an
was I
easy
gonna
topic.
do? Was I gonna
and
do
just
weather
like,
modification part 2 or something?
We already did weather modification part 2.
I don't know. There was something else, but this is the one, man. Because this, to me, like, there's so much in here. There's just so much stuff, and I talk about it every single episode. We talk about something, and it always comes back to me somehow. I'm like, oh,
REM
somehow
cloning.
this REM cloning, yeah. Everything always somehow comes back to you can connect it to this holographic universe slash. I hate to use the word simulation, but that's like the easiest way for people's brains to wrap around holographic universe is some kind of simulation. But
All you non-tinfoil hat brains.
yeah, I'm gonna try to break it down.
And then CJ was supposed to do the Shakespeare conspiracy about whether Shakespeare ever existed. I don't know much about it. But
Skeeter says that since I cover the Kappa, I should do the Hayosuba.
We'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I add that to my notes. I've been taking notes on everything he's been saying. He gave us a. He said another one earlier. It was the Glimmerman.
Glimmerman.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look into that. He's got a local Bigfoot that he said we should look into too. Skeeter, what's the name of that local Bigfoot, man? While Skeeter types it up, I'm sure he'll get to it. Let's move on to
Blue Hills.
Blue Hills Bigfoot. We'll have to look into that. Let's get into the interview that we had with Mr. Jason Hewlett, old boss man.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, you said you had something to talk about, man.
Well, yeah, basically, I mean, we were already kind of just talking about it. Honestly, we broke into it, but I forget what exactly he said that made me think about it connecting to all of that, you know, multi points of attention, I guess, looking at shit from different people's points of views through the timelines with the NDEs and all that. That's kind of where I was going with that, but I didn't wait.
Well, like I said, we had Jason Hewlett on, the old boss man, Paranormal Network. Great guy. We talked about his 2 books. The first one being Dying Light, which is the first book I read when it came to my research on NDEs, and his new book, which is going to be coming out soon at Monster Fest, accompanied with a documentary, both highlighting the water cryptid known as Ogopogo, which Jake and I actually covered with a good friend of ours, Phil, from Unexplained Inc. way back in the day. I'm like episode
way back in the day.
Episode 18 or 19 or something.
It was a Friday.
It was. I don't know that. Was it?
Yeah, no,
It
I don't know that either.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the Jason Hewlett interview was great. He's always an absolute blast, pleasure to have on. We'll be working with him again in the future after the Ogopogo stuff comes out and we get the chance to get our hands on it. We'll be talking to him a little bit more. That is extremely fresh in our minds because Jake and I literally just recorded that like the other day with him.
Yeah,
and
recorded that 3 days ago.
When
Yeah,
the travelers listen to this episode, it'll literally be the previous episode that comes out before this.
Nice.
So not much to talk about there. It's all, like same thing with the Tim Bernal episode. All the conversation happened on there, so there's really not much to conversate about here.
Right.
Anything you guys want to circle back on? No?
No.
All right.
Nope.
Well, let's see. Talk about the future of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. We have UFO Days coming up. We've alluded to that a couple times in this episode.
Yeah, I'll be up there in like 6 weeks, man.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, I can't wait.
Fucking exciting.
Yeah.
I get to rub your head. It'll be nice.
I'm still nervous about flying. I'm not gonna lie.
I hate flying.
You know what's
Probably
crazy?
crash.
Can I tell you a brief story that kind of freaked me out a little bit? So,
Yeah, absolutely. He's not
a few
coming.
weeks ago, I bought the plane tickets and all that to come up there. I'm all like, oh, I told you guys I'm nervous. I don't like flying. And then like literally the next day, all that shit came out about fucking dude from Boeing or whatever, and like I guess he like dies or kills himself in prison or whatever. I don't know. He Epstein. I don't know. Whatever happened. I don't know what happened.
Bullets. Yeah.
Something happened. I'm over here like, damn it, dude! I just bought these fucking tickets.
So we're not 100% sure as to exactly what we're doing. Let's man, I don't know what I can put out because I don't know if we're going to be able to hold on to all those promises. I can say that there's stickers and temporary tattoos of the Infinite Rabbit Hole logo, so bring your kids and get some temporary tattoos. We're going to have a canopy, a booth. Jake, Jeff, and myself will be there, as well as a couple of helpers. We have
wives.
Caitlin's going to be there too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So and of course, if there's anybody else that wants to volunteer, Skeeter. If
Skeeter's gonna be over there just being our DJ, just around there, just like interviewing people about their experience.
I learned that there will be another podcast there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
who?
Crap.
Shadow
I don't
Band
know.
podcast.
We're gonna have to slash their tires. This is
that thing is
Unraveling.
Wouldn't that be
defunct.
funny? They give us the TED Talk microphone. I do the whole spiel, boom, and then they're like, "All right, next up, the same motherfucker."
Rinse and repeat.
I'm trying to look it up right now. But Jake and I, the other day, did get to go do something pretty cool with Amy, the president of UFO Days. We got to go to her house and do a, we sat by the campfire and the kids cooked s'mores and ate treats and drank soda, and we had ourselves a couple of beers and we watched the sky for some UFOs. And I actually saw something fucking weird, man.
I saw something weird too. It's just not as
yeah.
weird as yours.
It's not the same.
I'm sure the beers had nothing to do with this. You're going to do research. You can't have the beers, man. Because what happens if something? Listen, here's the thing: if something awesome really happened, like they landed right in front of you, and then they took off, and you guys were like, "Holy shit!" People have been like, "Were you guys drinking beers?" And you've been like, "Yep." And they've been like,
beer's
because
not
I had to drive home. It was like 45 minutes.
See, that's what happens. The aliens are smart, right? They just know. They only show up and actually talk to people who are drinking beers, man.
That's it. That's
just
it.
the
They got me.
beers.
No, so I'm looking up at the sky, right? And every once in a while, because we were talking a lot that night, and every once in a while, I'll just kind of break off because we're supposed to be there to look for UFOs, right? Just to kind of look up at the sky.
We were talking about politics, so yeah, it was cool.
Well, she's got an absolute beautiful property, right? Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous house, gorgeous everything.
Gosh, the property at her house was 80 acres.
Yeah. There's a lot of land out here in old Wisconsin.
They have a dairy farm, so they've got like 200 acres there. So she's like, yeah, 280 acres. I'm like, ugh, that's like zero. Gosh. You know?
I'm fucking running a quadplex right now.
It's crazy, dude.
So I'm looking up at the sky, and if you just imagined the sky cut into slices, right? Starting from the zenith and just kind of cutting down in pie slices, like orange slices, if you will. But you take those slices and you flip them upside down so that the point is at the bottom and it comes up to a wider bit up top. And obviously I'm not looking all the way down to the actual tip where the point would be made, but it was literally a section in the sky where it was just for like a split second, the sky was just a slightly lighter hue than the rest of the sky. And it was a perfect line on the left side. Perfect line. From literally as far up as I can see to right when it hit the tree line. And then the right side, there was another perfect line, but most of it was behind clouds. And it just went doom and then doom. It was just on and off. And I like when it happened, I was like, did you guys fucking see that?
And I was like, you're drunk.
Damn, dude, did the universe projection fucking glitch out on you?
I told him he was like Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
You guys see that 3-body problem show?
Oh, I love that. I actually lent the book to Jake and Whitney, and they didn't read it. And I was supposed to come get that today. Oops.
Yeah.
Where like the stars blink and everything. Like, dude, did you have like a weird moment where like?
So it wasn't like that. So okay, just so you know, the fucking books are a lot better than the show. The show's good. Don't get me wrong, but they fucked it up. They fucked it way up. I mean, if you want to hear some really
time to read, bro.
I had time to read fiction and all this shit back here. Bro. All of it.
I listen to audiobooks. I don't have time to read.
TikTok,
you should
TikTok,
listen
TikTok,
to
TikTok. Give me
the
12
3-body
seconds.
problem.
I need the whole show in 12 seconds. Let's go.
Man, the 3-body problem is absolutely nuts. And
what is it about? You just keep saying that. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, next time we have a beer, we'll talk about it. I can't talk about it right now because I'll talk forever. I can't.
Skeeter says that they chased a UAP last year.
Did they?
Yeah.
Huh. I gotta catch up on the pronunciation, or he said it's pronounced Scony. So I said I gotta catch up on the messaging. I said UAP, great show, great books. It's absolutely great books. And he's right. They definitely messed it up. I'm not going to get into that because I can just we can do a whole nother episode on just that. Is it Scony or Scony? Scony, like Wisconsin. Got it. Scony, right? Give me a thumbs up, Skeeter, or like a yes or no.
Yes, Scotty. Yes.
Yes.
He's like, yes, you idiot.
You uncultured swine.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now because I read the whole series and then I read the spin-off book that some other author wrote with the grace of the person who actually wrote it, which was Six and You. It's a Chinese book translated to English, or it's a Chinese series translated to English. The series is called The Remembrance of Earth's Past. First book is Three Body Problem. Second book is The Dark Forest, which actually builds off of the Fermi Paradox. And the third book is Death's End. With the fourth spin-off book is The Redemption of Time. Very, very good books. The Redemption of Time was okay, but the first three were fucking mind-blowing and best series I've ever read in my life. Absolutely great. Yeah, absolutely awesome. I'm waiting for somebody I know to read those books so I can nerd out with them. Like, it's just amazing stuff. But anyways, let's see. What did we forget? Did we forget anything? Oh,
no. Nope.
As of right now, I am trying to get an episode out every week for you guys. That's what I'm trying to do. With documentaries not coming as fast as I would like them to because people have lives, including myself. I'm trying to fill it up with interviews. So I'm trying to reach out, get you guys some good interviews to listen to, get some different flavors in there. Maybe Jeff can help out because Jeff knows a shit ton of people. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe he'll just ignore me right now. I don't know. So the goal is to try to transition back to that weekly format to keep you guys going. And we may also be trying to bring the old format of Infinite Rabbit Hole back. We don't know yet. It's in the talks. It's being discussed. What?
I'm digging it. I miss the old format. This sucks, dude.
It does. I don't like
This
doing
blows.
I don't like doing these wrap up episodes. It's tough because we're not in
these. I don't like doing the documentaries.
I kind of miss. I just miss the old. I just like talking to you guys more than talking to a recording software. You know?
Well, we stopped because it's tough to get everybody on the same page every single week to get together. It's tough. Shut up.
It's
Jeff.
a cop out, Jeff. We know.
Yeah, it's always you, anyways.
Yeah, I don't do cryptids. I only got that degree because I wanted the title. I don't do cryptids.
Whatever, dude. I'm an expert, man. It takes time to be out there experting.
Cryptid expert guy degree.
So we are trying to plan.
Skeeter knows.
Oh no, I get it. I get a lot of people that reach out and they're like, yeah, the documentary stuff is cool, but that's not what we discovered when we discovered the Infinite Rabbit Hole.
Because we're talking crap all the time.
Yeah, they like the shit talk. They like the reason why we get 1 and 2 star ratings because people can't take a fucking joke.
It says yes. All caps. All caps or no cap.
But yeah, I mean, we got a couple ratings or reviews on people saying that these guys are mean to each other. Like, duh.
Just Romanians.
Yeah, just Romanians.
Romanians fucking love us, bro.
Now
they fucking love us.
Skeeter, leave us a voicemail. I'll put it in front of the next episode.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, let's do that some more. Anybody listening to this, I know Skeeter will do it. He's good for it.
That'd be awesome.
Head on over to shit. I think you still
InfiniteRabbitHole.com. Leave a voicemail.
can you do it there?
Yeah, it has a little microphone icon at the bottom right where
Does
you can
it?
click it. I think it's purple, and you can leave us a voicemail.
InfiniteRabbitHole.com. I know you can go to anchor.fm/InfiniteRabbitHole and do it there. Oh, there is a little microphone there. It's red.
Told you. Oh, it's red.
It's red. Leave us a voicemail, something like, hey, you're listening to Infinite Rabbit Hole, kind of like what we used to do. Be like, hey, this is Skeeter. Do whatever. Say this.
Do a shout out for your business or whatever.
Absolutely.
Free advertising on our show.
100%.
How about we'll 100%. Just send you a script. We'll tell you exactly what to say.
Infinite Rabbit Hole is the best show ever. Wow.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get another voicemail from a cryptid.
Yeah, right. Maybe
money. Yeah, money. Don't worry. We'll send the money after the script.
Rumor is the Fresno Nightcrawler didn't like our show.
Yeah, Fresno Nightcrawler is very upset because I guess I called him fake.
I think we're just kind of rambling now. I think that's it. That's it. Anybody have anything else?
Bedtime. No, it's past my bedtime, bro.
No, dude. It was definitely a good quarter. I know in this next quarter, I'm probably going to be branching into dragons and the evidence for dragons. One thing I heard recently, Forrest Galante was on a Joe Rogan podcast probably a few months ago, but they were talking about this. It was a clip I saw. Maybe it was one of his older. He's been on there for a couple times, but one of his older episodes. But Joe was like, so they were talking about dragons, and he's like, well, if dragons existed, where's the fossilization or the fossilized record of them? And he was like, well, they had bird bones. This stuff doesn't usually last that process. And I was like, wow, that would make a lot of sense.
So I saw that. I saw that.
Something I could get into, because I mean, it's true. All the really older cultures around the world, they all had, dragons in some varying degree. And what's to say that it wasn't dinosaurs, lasting a significantly long time, or it was in fact dragons? I mean, I know that there was a T-Rex femur, I want to say, that was discovered around the 2010 mark, where while it was in transport, the helicopter dropped it and it broke open, and they had fossilized red blood cells, and that shouldn't exist for something that's been dead for 40 million years or something crazy like that. So it's like, were they around a lot closer to, humanity and stuff, And so it's just something that I want to get into. It's probably going to be a really big topic. So there might be several parts to it, but even still, it's something that I'm personally interested in, and I do want to get into that. So that's something to look forward to for this next quarter for anyone that's listening.
Jeffrey, would you like to tell them what you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm trying to drop this Hollow Universe. It might actually be a 2-parter, honestly, or maybe
that'd be
cool. A long episode. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Dragons we have some dimensional. I agree with Skeeter.
We have some openings in the September timeframe.
I got to figure out a way to put it down so it makes sense. This is all just stuff that I kind of just know over the years of just researching this stuff. But
you're just so smart. You're a god.
Well, no, it's just it's a hodgepodge of thoughts. It's more like, how do you fucking orchestrate this into a presentable piece of information?
The knowledge base is easy. The script writing is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To kind of go over
flow.
To kind of go over the topics for the next quarter that I will be presenting. Next week, when you're listening to this, I don't have anybody planned right now, but obviously this is literally a month away from the date that we're recording, so that could obviously change. But right now, that week is empty. We're going to try to fill it in probably with an interview. And then we're going to get into something that I am trying desperately to try to finish to come out on July 9th, right before my 2-part series on the UFOs over Elmwood. I want to cover a brief history on secret government UFO projects. Yes, I know, Jeff. It's going to be great. I got some really, really cool shit to talk about there. Project Aquarius and some of the other stuff. I don't want to open that up too much because gotta save some for the actual episode. But some really, really interesting stuff that I was able to uncover, and I'm working really hard to get that done. What's up?
And the Infinite Rabbit Hole anniversary is coming up in August 27th.
Oh yeah, I'm getting there. So July 9th, trying to get a brief history of secret government UFO projects done, and then July 16th and 23rd, UFOs over Elmwood 1 and 2. July 30th, as of right now, is slotted for CJ's Ghost Ships episode. And then the entire month of August is going to be parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Hollow Earth.
Dang.
Yep, they're all recorded, they're all edited, they're all uploaded, ready to go.
Nice.
Actually, I think 1, 2, and 3 is done. 4 just has to be edited. So almost there. And then September is the one that's kind of up in the air right now. That's where you're going to probably see Jake's Dragon episode, Jeff's Holographic Universe. In fact, that would fit really well. And then on September 24th, we'll be right back here for the quarter 3 wrap up. Don't know if the format of the Infinite Rabbit Hole will change by then, but as of right now, that's what we're looking at.
Sounds
good. All right. Anything else, guys?
Send it back.
Dude.
Start over.
Now I'm going to bed. All right. Well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Jeremy. This is Jake and Jeff, co-hosts of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just on podcast, though. In real life, they're dicks. But,
yes.
Yeah. I'll see you in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Say bye. There you
Bye.
go. There it
Skeeter,
is.
say bye. There he is. He says bye.